I mentioned this guy before, Seth Godin, and he wrote this book, Rework. I read it, and I think it's really smart. And there's some quotes that I'd like to take out all these books. One would be like, that would never work in the real world is something, especially when you go to Germany, you'll see all of your fluffy ideas are going to be tossed out. In America, I think it's a little different. People are more excited about doing stuff right away, which could be the other opposite of things, but still ignore it. He also says the saying that you learn from your mistakes is not a good thought. He thinks it's better to learn from your successes and take that data, but you sort of need to do that. Most of the time, if it worked out okay, people don't even speak about it again. So you need to have some kind of data that you can actually count to make to prove that it worked, that it was a success. But for me, it's important to keep this journal that I'm talking about, so that I can record my successes. So later on, if I need to use this as an argument somewhere else, I can say I'd worked before, and I think I can prove this because I recorded the data. In this case, also, the business plan, if you don't know where this is going, he says in this book, it's more of a guessing plan. Nobody really has a business plan because this is a new business, so it's probably not fair to say that they know where this is exactly going. If you don't want to be a big business, I had employees myself, and I always found it very hard to kind of coordinate that on top of what I'm doing. So I felt I just work more efficient if I mostly work by myself. I hire here and there other people that help me out on things, but not on a regular basis. And I think workaholics can be a problem if you don't have time to actually relax. There's this thought about deep thinking that you can only take in about 4 hours a day, that you can really concentrate about 4 hours a day, and you should use those 4 hours really, really wisely and not be distracted by any outside social medias, emails, calls, other people that could distract you. And then the rest of the day you could go back to doing all these other things that keep distracting our lives, because we do need these too. We need to have a social life, for example. And so you cannot even actually put in more than 4 hours anyway. So you might just like have a schedule. And in this book, I forgot the name of this. It was like Deep Thinking something, and they had actually made a schedule every day where they would plan in these hours. I don't know if I could live that so rigid, but they suggested it in that one. He also said, if a child falls down 50 times, it never thinks of itself, no, this walking thing is not for me. So you can't be a professional right out the box. It's kind of this thing where you have to put in the 10,000 hours of work to become a pro at something. So you can keep going at it, and there was this other proverb from New Yorker, I think it was a dancer. It was like, in New York, it doesn't matter how many times you fall down, it's how fast you get back up. And then also he said, like, Warren Buffett, how do you pronounce whatever? So he said that you'd be surprised how many doors are not locked if you're just bold enough to knock. What can you lose? It's not you're not annoying. I mean, it's okay to try to open that door. So here's the physical portfolio. I had some pros and cons. I showed you this before. It's just it's not a big thing to bring. So. But one drawback of doing this is maybe the price. If you don't want to spend too much money on your printouts, if you have a physical, I mean, a digital portfolio is probably easier to update and things like that. But the price is one part. It shouldn't be that expensive. I don't think you should, you need to consider your client's work also. Your portfolio is one thing, but you don't want to spend all your energy into that and not on your client's work. So anyway, the price. And then it's hard to update if you have it bound and you want to change it quite frequently. So maybe you can have some kind of system where you can update the pages with some kind of binding that you can take apart and put it back together for whatever occasion you need to bring your portfolio. It can get old quickly because you have like outdated projects, and as you know, as as students, you want to replace your student work relatively quick with real work and not have too much spec work in your portfolio. And it does get dirty, so you might want to consider that people will touch this with their hands, or it spills something on it and wrinkle, and you put it in your bag, it will get dusty and squashed up. So also things from the material of your paper, you want to make sure that you can maybe even wipe this off. You bring it, like I myself brought my portfolio quite often with me when I was in Tokyo meeting friends at a bar, and so there could be dirty tables that I put them on. It needs to be small enough to be opened in this kind of cramped situation as well. And you don't want to bring this like big weird laptop that you're like in a bar. That's not how you can show your work in that situation. Anyway, it depends on the situation that you want to show it on, of course. But I think a physical portfolio is a little bit easier, quicker, more impressive to hand. So that's a big plus. You don't want to make it too large. Bring something that is like easy, like to flip through or so. Maybe just your sketchbook could be your portfolio. And it doesn't need any time to set it up. It's open right away. They need no power, no tech issues. On the other hand, the online portfolio, you can very easily change it. You can customize it on the fly. There's never a final version of that. It's easy to send it to somebody as a link. You don't have to package or mail something that could be annoying to people too. So if you just have a link that they can forward, easy. Now, like this, nobody feels spammed if they get that link, and they can share it, they can forward it, you can attach it to someone. You will have maybe tech problems that they cannot open it because their browser's outdated, slow connection, or if you have movies, they won't play, sound doesn't load, they have no speakers, things like that. So there might be problems technically. And you cannot control the screen size, their colors, the application problem, things like that. But it's good for animations and web design and movie clips that you cannot really show on a physical portfolio, like a printout portfolio. So if that's your medium, and it should be at this point, graphic design should be like quite a wide range of things that you want to show that include animated pieces and movies and sound. And so you can upload those at some of the portfolio platforms that are around, like Dribbble, Behance comes, it's quite common. There used to be one called Coroflot. I even got some jobs out of it back in the day. I don't know if they're really around anymore. I haven't updated it in years. And Instagram is very easy, reaches a lot of people. Twitter also reaches a lot of people. It doesn't have a very good slideshow engine or something like that. ArtStation was mentioned a couple of times when I talked to book publishers, that they go to ArtStation and look for illustrators there. DeviantArt is a big platform that's more of a fantasy illustrator, but you can show off your work there. Then for the programmers, obviously, there's like Stack Overflow, GitHub, CodePen, and things like that you want to have also depositories on that to show your coding work if that's what you're getting into. Quite often the egos are bloated, and don't start yourself by presenting yourself, I'm the award-winning designer. You can mention that, but I don't think you want to put people in a position where you think like, oh, this is a big star. Can I even hire this guy? He's so full of himself. So also there's, for the portfolio, don't want to show all of your work, want to show only the strongest work, because other designers or even other people that you show this to will be the harshest critic. They will see the tiniest little mistake in it. It's better to show 5 really, really top-notch projects than 10 and 5 of them have a mistake in it. And then there's this shuffle sequence that you want to have in a portfolio. At the first is like one of your best works, and then the last is also a good work, and then the second one is like your second strongest, and the second to last is your third strongest, and the fourth strongest would be your third piece, and so on. So you go back and forth. In the middle you can let it like low. There's one strategy somebody also told me, that if you have the last piece as something that is a work in progress, you have a very good transition if you're showing work that is in progress at the very last piece. Kind of nice to show that you're open to progress and things to change with this last project, and give them a chance to respond to it with something that they can actually still improve on your work, or something. It's like just a good conversation starter. So besides your physical work and portfolio, I think another big part of your portfolio is how you present yourself out there. And for that, it's a really cool way to go to meetups and build your network, become part of groups, meet like-minded people, meet people in the industry and see what they're up to. If you're part of that, that's also part of your portfolio, who you know and who you worked with, and who you are as a person besides your work.